drink it every morning, you time your day around it, but most people have no idea how caffeine actually works. And the myths around it are costing you energy, sleep, and the best cup you could be making. I'm going to break down everything: the science, the myths, the timing, and exactly how to use caffeine to your advantage. Caffeine is technically a stimulant, but it doesn't actually give you energy. It borrows it. Here's what's happening in your brain. As you go through your day, a chemical called adenosine builds up and binds to receptors in your brain, making you feel progressively more tired. Caffeine's molecular structure is remarkably similar to adenosine, similar enough to fit into those same receptors and block them. Your brain can't feel the adenosine building up, so the tiredness signal never arrives. You feel alert, but the adenosine is still there waiting. The moment caffeine clears your system, it all hits at once. That's your crash. Not caffeine wearing off, adenosine is flooding back in. And here's the part most people never consider. The more caffeine you drink, the more adenosine receptors your brain actually grows to compensate. That's why a coffee drinker who's been at it for years needs 2 or 3 cups just to feel what 1 cup used to do. Tolerance isn't in your head, it's literally in your biology. Dark roast has more caffeine. Wrong. Roasting burns off caffeine. The longer the roast, the more caffeine you lose. Light roast wins by weight, though if you measure by volume, it gets more complicated because darker beans are lighter and you can fit more in a scoop. Espresso has more caffeine than drip coffee. Wrong. A single shot of espresso has about 63 milligrams of caffeine, and an 8-ounce drip coffee has 95. Espresso wins per ounce, but nobody drinks 1 cup of drip. You drink 8. The math doesn't lie. Pre-ground coffee is fine. It's not. Coffee goes stale within 30 minutes of grinding. The CO2 that creates crema, aroma, and flavor escapes immediately. Pre-ground sitting in a bag for weeks has lost most of what makes it worth buying. Grind fresh every time. Most people drink coffee the moment they wake up. That's actually one of the worst times. Here's why. Cortisol. Your body's natural alertness hormone peaks in the first 30 to 60 minutes after waking. If you drink caffeine during that window, you're laying stimulant on top of stimulant. You build tolerance fast. The caffeine is less effective, and you end up needing more of it just to feel normal. Research suggests waiting 90 minutes after waking before your first coffee. Cortisol drops naturally, caffeine fills the gap, and the effect is dramatically longer. The second timing rule: stop caffeine by 2 p.m. Caffeine has a half-life of 5 to 7 hours. A coffee at 3 p.m. means half of that caffeine is still in your system at 9 p.m., right when your body needs to start winding down for sleep. Poor sleep means more tiredness tomorrow, which means more coffee, which means worse sleep. It's a cycle most people don't realize they're in. There's also a genetic component here that most people ignore. Some people metabolize caffeine fast. They can have an espresso at 6 p.m. and sleep fine by 10. Others metabolize it slowly, and a 2 p.m. coffee is still disrupting sleep at midnight. If you constantly sleep poorly despite cutting off early, you might just be a slow metabolizer. The fix is simple. Move your cutoff earlier, to noon or even 11 a.m., and see if your sleep improves within a week. Sleep is where this all comes full circle. Caffeine doesn't just mask tiredness, it actively degrades sleep quality, even when you don't realize it. Studies show that caffeine consumed within 6 hours before bed reduces total sleep time by over an hour. You might fall asleep fine, but the deep restorative sleep your brain needs gets cut short. Less deep sleep means more adenosine buildup the next day, which means you reach for more caffeine, which means worse sleep again. Breaking that cycle starts with a 2 p.m. cutoff. Not because you feel wired at bedtime, but because your sleep architecture will quietly improve even when you don't notice it immediately. So here's the protocol that actually works. Wait 90 minutes after waking. Have your first coffee. Have a second if you need it before noon, but cut completely off by 2 p.m. On days that you need an afternoon boost, a 20-minute nap immediately followed by caffeine is more effective than either alone. The caffeine takes 20 minutes to absorb, so you wake up right as it kicks in. It's called a Napa latte, and the research on it is surprisingly solid. In the grind, fresh beans, quality grinder, correct dose by weight, not volume. Everything else is noise if you get these fundamentals right. One more thing worth knowing: caffeine and L-theanine together is one of the most well-researched cognitive stacks there is. L-theanine is an amino acid found naturally in green tea. It smooths out the jittery edge of caffeine without blunting the alertness. If you're sensitive to caffeine or get anxious after coffee, try adding L-theanine, 100 to 200 milligrams alongside your morning cup. The difference is noticeable. Caffeine is one of the most studied substances on Earth, and most people using it every day have no idea how it actually works. Now you do. If you want more videos like this, the science behind your coffee, the gear that actually matters, the myths that are costing you a better cup, subscribe. New videos every week, shorts every day.